Hello everybody, Miss Collin here, and I'm going to be talking to you guys about Pythagorean theorem in word problems. Now nothing is really different here. We're still using a squared plus b squared equals c squared, but we're given some context behind our problem. So here's an example for you guys, if anyone's baseball fans out here. It says each base and home plate make a right angle. So right away I labeled that in my picture here. Now when I know that all four of these make a right angle, I know that it's either a rectangle or a square. Now when it tells me all sides in the baseball diamond are equal distance, now I know it is a square. So I know that this is now a square here. Now you may be able to infer that by looking at it. So I know that if it's a square, all the sides are the same. So right now I just have them as x because I don't know, what they are right now. So I'm just going to label them all as x. Okay, now it says the perimeter of the baseball diamond is 360 feet. All right, it's important that you remember that perimeter means the distance around a shape or a figure. Okay, so perimeter is the distance around. Okay, so that means that this side from, I should start from the beginning, right? From home to first, plus this from first base to second base, plus from second base to third base, from third base to home is all 360 feet total. Or AKA, if you were to run around the entire field, it's 360 feet. Okay, so they want to know what is the distance between each base. Well, they just want to know what is the length of this, what is the length of this, what is the length of this, and what is the length of this. Now we already know that they're all going to be the same. So we're going to set up an equation here. Well, we know that x plus x plus another x equals 360. AKA, what does this mean? This means that 4x, we're adding them all up, equals 360. To solve for x, we're going to divide each side by 4. And when we do that, we get x equals 90, which means each length of here from home to first is 90 feet. Okay? Now, number 2 says the catcher at home plate needs to throw the baseball to second base. So here's the catcher, and he's going to second base. All right. Approximately how far does he need to throw the baseball? Okay, so they want to know from here to here, what is this? So I'm going to call this y. All right, I don't know what this length is. All right, so you can take either side of this triangle now. Now we have a diagonal and we have a right triangle. If you see that here, we still have these right angles. So I'm going to take this one over here. It doesn't matter which one you decide to take. And obviously that's kind of messy, so I redrew it in my problem down here. I kind of rotated my picture. See, I took it and I kind of flipped it this way a little bit. And now I have third base, home, second base, and I have this right triangle. Okay. I also know from the previous problem that this side and this side, because these were both x in my problem up here, are 90 degrees, right? And now I'm looking for this guy here, y. All right, now if you remember from yesterday, this is called the leg, and this is called the hypotenuse. Okay, so it's important you know that. This is the leg, this is the leg, and this is a hypotenuse. Why is this a hypotenuse? Because it's across from the 90-degree angle. Okay, so I'm looking for the hypotenuse. Why is that important? Because in Pythagorean theorem, you need to know what you're looking for. And I know that Pythagorean theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And in this problem, I know my a squared and I know my b squared are both 90, right? So 90 squared plus my other 90 squared equals y squared or c squared. I don't really care which one you use, right? So we can change this if you even want guys to see. Okay? All right. So I'm going to calculate this, and I get that 90 squared is 8100 plus 8100 equals my c squared. Keep going this out. That that is 16,200 equals c squared. Now, I have to make sure, do not forget to take the square root of both sides. When I do so, I'm left with c equals 127. I'm sorry, c equals 127 feet. Okay, so that's going to go right here for my answer. Okay, do not forget to square root this. This is a very common mistake. I would make a note to yourself, okay, to find the actual answer. Now, I think this picture is really important for you guys to understand and to be able to redraw kind of a real life situation. Once you see that right triangle, you can use Pythagorean theorem and it makes sense. All right, coming down here. Here I also added a little photo for you guys, a little never eat soggy waffles, just in case if you've never heard of that. I am kind of old, so soggy waffles is how, you know, this is set up. If you're ever thinking about it, I redrew one for us because it's talking about distance here. It says John leaves to go home. He walks 6 blocks north and then 8 blocks west. So I'm going to kind of draw this out as they're talking about it. So it says he walks 8 blocks north, or sorry, 6 blocks north. That is upward. Okay, so we're going to say John starts here. He walks 6 blocks north, and then west would be this way, right? So then he comes down this way, and he ends up somewhere. I don't know where. It may be out here. Your picture may be out here. I'm just going to stop here. It doesn't really matter. Okay, this is more for yourself. So I know that from this line is 6, right? Because it's 6 blocks north. And then I know that this is 8. All right? They want to know, how far is John from the school? Well, he started at the school. He's here now. So I want to know, I want to know this length down here. Okay? So I want to know this, I'm going to call it x. All right, once again, you can see that we drew a right triangle. As soon as we see that right triangle, we can use Pythagorean theorem. Be careful. You need to decide, once again, what do you have? I'm looking for a leg. I have another leg, and I have another hypotenuse, right? So what do I have when it comes to my equation? I have my c squared, right? My c squared is 8 squared. A squared, all right, I have that. It doesn't matter if you have your B or your A, either one. But I'm looking for another one of my legs, right? I'm looking for that. So I'm going to call this one B. Rename that. Okay. And I'm going to solve. Okay. You're not always looking for the hypotenuse. 8 squared is 64. 6 squared is 36 plus B squared. Now, how am I going to get that B squared by itself? I got to subtract 36, right? So 64 minus 36 is 28 equals B squared. And my last step is to take the square root of both sides. Square root it. Boom, boom. All right, I used to be looking at this from day one and say, Ms. Cullen, that's not a perfect square. Correct, it's not a perfect square. So in this problem, I'm going to ask for an approximate answer, and you should get 5 point something, so I'm going to round it to 3. He walks about 5.3, he's about 5.3 blocks from school. Okay, all right. And the last problem here, I'm going to draw a quick picture. You could draw one, you don't have to. All right, that was fast. Here's my beautiful picture. So I'm talking about a house here. It says, how far from the base of the house do you need to place a 15-foot ladder? So here's the length of my ladder, so that it exactly reaches the top of a 12-foot wall, okay, on this house. Once again, when I put a ladder against the wall, I create this 90-degree angle here. okay, which means this is my hypotenuse, this is a leg, and I'm looking for my other leg. So once again, in my equation, I don't know my a squared, plus my b squared is 12, and 15 equals 15 squared. Okay, so I have a squared plus 144 equals 225. I'm going to subtract 144 from both sides, so I'm left with a squared equals 81, and oh my gosh, look, that's a perfect square. I know that a equals 9 because the square root of a squared is a, and the square root of 81 is 9, which means he is 9 feet from the wall. And that is all. Thank you so much for watching my video.